Guys, Robin is here to share the rules, the receipts, and the strategies you need to step into your power and build a career and a life bigger than your job. So get ready because this conversation is going to ignite something in you. Without further ado, let's bring in our guest. Hi, Robin. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm thrilled to have you join us. The only thing that I'm going to challenge you with now is that I see that you are helping women. Why are you leaving men out? Why are you leaving me out, Robin?
If it works for you, great. But not having a woman 30 years ago that I could come up under, her wing and have someone explain how this game was going to be played. It just really, I really want to go back to those young professional career women, um, and give them all the secrets, and help them be successful. If some of the men get benefit and get blessed by it, that's great. I'm a mom of one daughter and three boys,
Oh,
so um, of course, I want everybody to succeed. Quite frankly.
okay, no, that's good. And thank you for all you are doing. You said there's an unwritten rule book. I'm curious to know what does that mean? What is this unwritten rule book about corporate success?
You know, um, so first of all, you have to realize that this is a game. Corporate America is a game. And like all games, would you ever go play football or soccer or basketball without knowing the rules of
No,
the game?
no way.
No,
No way.
no. You sit down to play a board game, there's a rule, you get a little pamphlet, it tells you all the rules of the game. Well, corporate America is a game. It is a game to be played. And I really did not realize that until I was about 45 years old. Um, and once I realized this was all a game, and just like all games, there are rules and there are strategies to win the game. Um, then it became so fun because I thought, and like most people, I'm sure, I thought I get an education, I
Mhm,
go to work,
mhm.
I'm hired to do a specific job, I do that job with excellence, and I get promoted, I get accolades, I get more scope, I get more responsibility, and that's the way this world, this game called corporate America works. And you work harder and you get more, and you work harder and you get more. No, no, no. That is not the way it works. It is a game to be played, and you need to have a strategy if you want to be successful and
Uh,
enjoy it. Enjoy it. You can play a game, you can play a football game with no strategy, and you can win by brute force. But it's so much more fun when you play the game strategically and you see how all the pieces fit together. And so anyway, I wish I would have known at 25 what I learned at 45.
so no, that's good. Thank you for explaining that. So it's a game. That reminded me of what Robert Kiyosaki said, that financial success is a game. Many people don't know if they are playing the game, so they are not achieving success. So for my listeners, we want to know what are these unwritten rules? What are these strategies? Maybe you can share some of them with us so that we can start playing so that we can be successful.
And let me tell you this story. I
Mhm.
had an opportunity. I tell this story in my book, actually. I guess I was probably in my late 30s, maybe early 40s, and I had the opportunity to drive one of my executive vice presidents from the airport out to go visit one of our customers. So we were stuck in the car together for over an hour. And I thought, oh my God, this is amazing. I have an hour and a half with our executive vice president, and this is the best one on one opportunity ever. Right. So we're driving, and I said, Bill, you are about 7 years older than me. And you are the executive vice president running this entire sales organization. And I am an account manager managing one small account. And I know for a fact that you have not outworked me. I know that you have not out delivered results. I know that. I have exceeded my goals. I have worked hard. I've done all the things. I said, what have you done so right that I did so wrong?
Mm.
And he said, well, Robin, what a great question, first of all. What a great question.
Oh, that's right.
And he said, first of all, don't don't think for a second that 7 years in the IT technology world is not a lifetime, because 7 years when you're talking about technology companies and industries around technology, that might as well be 70 years in other businesses at the speed at which those organizations grow and change. So
Mhm.
don't underestimate the 7 years. He said, but secondly, when I was 23 years old and went to work for IBM, I sat down with my boss's boss and I told him my goal was to be the CEO of IBM.
Wow.
And they laughed at me,
Oh.
right? They laughed at me. He said, but it told them I had a vision
Mhm.
for my future, what I wanted. I knew what I wanted. I knew for a fact I wanted to be the CEO of a large company like IBM. And he said, and it let them know that anytime they saw a new opportunity for growth, a new opportunity for responsibility, hey, remember that crazy kid Bill that I talked to? Right? He put it out there.
Mhm.
And also he said, Robin, every opportunity they gave me to grow and expand, I took it. And he said, if it meant moving to New Jersey, if it meant moving to Europe, whatever opportunity they presented me with, I took it because I had a roadmap in my mind of the goal I wanted to get to. I can tell you, most people, I know women especially, because I have talked to hundreds, if not thousands, at this point in time in my career. Um, we don't think that way, right? We don't sit down and think about, we say exactly what I said we do. We get out of college, we go to work, we do a good job, we get promoted, and we think that's the way it's going to work. And I would say that, I think in general, men are better at thinking strategically, like that long term strategic thinking. I think men are just, better at that than women. And so I think I'm not saying women can't get good at it, but I think it's just something that we need to become aware of. And so anyway, that's one of the rules is know, set a strategy, set a vision, know where you want your career to go, and then make others at the organization know what your intent is.
Okay.
Um, so
Yeah, that is
anyway,
good, Robin. I think the strategy, you have to be ambitious, just like yourself. And I see you talk about raise your hand, let other people know what you want. And maybe what most people struggle with is not letting the leaders know, hey, I want more. I can take on more. Maybe they are just sitting down, doing what they can do and expecting that people will open doors of opportunity to them when that time comes. So thank you very much for sharing that wisdom with us. Now let's talk about women since we want to help women here. So why do you believe that many women they struggle with this unwritten rule, and what can they do specifically to ensure that they are also growing in their career?
Yeah, I think that there's data, and I wish I had. I'll find the data and maybe share it with you so you can put it in your notes in your podcast. But there's data that suggests women only apply for jobs that they are overqualified for. Do
Yeah,
you know the data that I'm
yeah,
talking about? At your head, you're shaking your
yeah.
head.
Uh-huh.
So women only apply for jobs that they are either overeducated or overqualified for,
Yeah.
where men will apply, they don't care, right? They're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, whatever, I got it.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think that um, if you look at my framework, you mentioned, I think you mentioned it, I established the real framework, and real is so important to me. It is, if there's one thing I want people to ever say about me at the end of my life, it's that, Robin was so real.
Yeah.
Authenticity is so important to me. So when I established my framework, I tried to, make it be in the real nomenclature. And so the first thing I would tell women is real. The R in real is recognize your superpower.
Mm.
And you were born with God given gifts
Mhm.
that when you get education, when you get experience, those God given gifts can be amplified and really they become your superpower in the workforce. I mean, they're your superpower anyway in your real life, but they can also be your superpower in the workforce. I had a boss one time tell me, I'd never heard this. And he was the chief operating officer and I was the chief marketing officer for an AI company about 10, 15 years ago. And he said, Robin, you have an uncanny ability to hear what someone's talking about, listen to an idea on technology, listen to a business problem. You can sit in a room and listen to somebody talk about anything, and within minutes, you are already connecting dots on how to solve that problem or how to take that product to market or whatever it is that somebody is talking to me about. I quickly start seeing a picture of how different things connect and how we go tackle that. Well, that is, I did, it's natural, right? That is naturally how my brain works. I'm curious. So when I sit down and people tell me about a business challenge they're dealing with, I start asking really good questions to kind of get to the bottom of it because I have a natural curiosity. That is all part of what make that those are my superpowers. Well, in business, that is really valuable.
Mm.
Um, and I didn't know it about myself until someone else spoke it.
Mhm.
And when he was explaining my superpower, I went, wow, I do that. I really do that well. You're right. That comes very natural to me. And when something comes natural to you, you don't often recognize it as such a strength because you think everybody thinks that way. Well,
Mm.
they don't. They
Mhm.
don't think that way. So, what I would tell folks is um, the sooner you can find your superpower, the better. And I will, even on my website, people can book a session with me and it's a 30-minute session for free. And I will help them try to figure out what their superpower is. That is, in my experience, that is the first thing people need to do. The second, after you realize what your superpower is and what you're going to operate in authentically, then you can establish, that's the E, establish your strategy. So if I have this unique set of superpowers that make me an asset and a value to this business, what's my strategy? How do I go deliver value with my superpower in this organization? And what is my strategy to get there? And what I mean by also a part of that strategy is who are the internal stakeholders? Oftentimes in business, We do something where we map out stakeholder maps whenever we're talking about somebody else's. If you're in sales or you're in marketing or you're in product development, you will map out a stakeholder map to tell you all the different people, right, that you need to talk to and learn what their points of view are. Do the same thing when it comes to your career. Map out a stakeholder map in your own organization. Who are the people that are always on stage? Who are the people that are always talked about? What are the names of people that, even if they're not the manager or the vice president, what are the names that you hear over and over when you're in meetings? You will start to hear people, and you can map out, okay, that person is well viewed, they have a good brand, um, that needs to be an ally. How can I become an ally with the people on my stakeholder? That's what I mean when I'm talking about establishing your strategy.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. So,
And then the A, I'll tell you the A
yeah.
since I'm doing it. I'll give you the A. The A is align. So you need to align your strategy with those unwritten rules that I'm talking about. And those unwritten rules, I've got a whole workshop about the unwritten rules. But anyway, it's aligning your strategy now with those unwritten rules. And like I said, part of that is not just going to work every day and working the hardest. You have to be strategic in how you're going to go play the game by those rules. And then the L in the framework is lead, and that is lead with authentic power. And what I can say at almost, at 54 versus 25 is, when you are operating in your superpower and you are working out your strategy, you've developed your strategy and you're working that out. You're playing the game, it's a game, and now you're playing it and you're playing it smart. It's easy to operate in your authentic power because it's fun. This is actually fun when and you're winning. Like, it's you're doing good for yourself, you're doing good for your organization, you're delivering a ton of value to the organization, and you're not killing yourself doing draining time suck activity that isn't getting you what you want, right? It isn't working harder. I know that sounds so cliche. It's not working harder. It's working smarter. But
Yeah.
but that's also empty. Okay, I get it. Don't work harder, work smarter. But what does that mean? And that's what I'm trying to, peel apart for women and men. That you know, work smarter, not harder. And let me tell you what I specifically mean by that.
Robin, that was so good. I'm going to
Good.
summarize the real
Okay.
framework. Recognize your superpower, and that is about finding your strengths, your natural ability, your talent. For you, it's curiosity. I was going to ask, can we develop? Let's say I want to be a CEO of an organization. And maybe for a CEO, there are certain qualities that are essential for that role. I was going to ask you, how can I develop those qualities, even if it's not my natural ability? But I also want to talk about real. So E is establish your strategy. I like your what you call stakeholder map. That's a power maps. You talked about aligning with leaders, people that have great brand in the organization, and the A is about aligning strategy with the rule book. And finally, we have to lead with authenticity. So I want to go back to the question that I was thinking about in terms of developing qualities, maybe even when when it's not our natural abilities. Is there any thought on that, Robin?
Yeah, so I'm a big believer in um, not trying to develop weaknesses into strengths. I I'm a believer that you double down on your strength. And I'm not saying that, I am not going to be your CFO because I never want to have to deal with all the finance stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, but it doesn't mean that I don't have to have skills in running a P&L, right? Obviously, if you're running a P&L, you have to learn. But I'm a big believer in doubling down on your strengths, not trying to make your weaknesses your strengths, because I think you make your weaknesses, you get them up to par, right? You don't make them a hindrance to your success. I couldn't run a successful P&L if I didn't understand the numbers.
Right.
So I have to have a base level, but I am not going to invest anything more than I have to get my weaknesses up to just functional level. I'm a believer in operating in those superpowers. And if you look at successful CEOs, they are obsessive, right? I mean, most CEOs are crazy, right? They're a little bit crazy because they are. Look at them all. I mean, they are obsessive, crazy folks. But look how laser focused
Yeah.
they are
Mhm.
on their strengths, which is generally setting the vision, right? Setting the strategy, setting the big high level vision, and
Right.
then they surround themselves with people that are good at all those other things. But they are the ones out there that are just, the CEO is the mouthpiece of the organization. That is what the CEO's role is. Um, and so if you want to be the CEO and you are not comfortable being the mouthpiece of the organization,
Then that's not you.
it's not you.
Right.
It's not you, right? Um, so, I believe in strengthening your weaknesses, but I'm a big believer in jumping wholeheartedly into your strengths.
Okay, you told us to double down on our strengths, so I love that, Robin. So, your journey includes many challenges,
Mhm.
trauma, hardship, and reinvention. How did those experiences shape your leadership today, Robin?
Thanks for asking. It's never is the journey, a straight line. God, wouldn't that be great? I don't know. I don't really know if it'd be great. Might be a little boring, but I don't know. Would have been fun to
It's gonna
try.
be boring.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, I had a lot of childhood trauma that I dealt with. Um, and and I think that is probably why it took me longer to really operate in my superpower and feel comfortable in my skin. My background, I came from an abusive alcoholic home, and a lot of abuse and negativity there. And then my first marriage fell apart, and I spent all of my time um, pouring into my career because I could compartmentalize my life, and I could put a nice box around all the things that I didn't want to deal with and all the hurt and all the trauma. I could put that in a box, and I chose not to deal with that for a lot of years. And I could put my career on the other side of the page, and I could just go perform.
Mhm.
And I say that, corporate America is a beautiful place. It's a perfect environment for a broken little girl trying to prove that she's worthy, that she's good enough. Because I could perform, I could get all the accolades that I wanted and needed, and to get my validation from. I'm not saying it's right. That's not the way. That I had to go through a long healing journey to be where I am today, and be whole. But in my 20s and 30s, I was a great corporate America warrior, because I worked hard. I got all my validation out of everything I did at work, and it felt good. It felt good to succeed there. But that is not the ideal path. That is not what I recommend.
Oh, today you are preaching fun. So for somebody that is saying fun, that means you are telling people to find something that they enjoy, so that they can be more productive, so that and bring out their best. To be honest, so I like that. Now, finally, as we are wrapping it, Robin. You've been saying and you've been telling people to build a life that is bigger than their job. What does that mean? If you don't mind me
Yeah.
asking.
Yeah, I mean, we spend a lot of time in our jobs, and I like to think that all of the experiences that I've had in life actually make me a better leader at work. And I think it's also what has made me so passionate about pouring back into those young, career women. But I wrote a book, Girl by Birth, Woman by Fire. And, when you go through fire, there's a lot of things that can happen. It can burn you up. It can improve your color. It does a lot of different things. But I feel like that it has made me a much more compassionate leader when it comes to, life circumstances. And I've always found that when you can, it isn't fake to me that I genuinely care about the people on my teams, and I genuinely care about what is going on in their life. And I had a boss one time tell me, he said, Robin, at any given time, you're spinning 5 plates. And the only plate that is most important not to crash is your family plate.
Mhm.
And that is that is so true. And that's the way that I lead my teams. There are more of us on the team. We can step in and help you fill whatever responsibility is going on at work, but that family plate can't fall and crash.
That's right.
And so that's a life worth living, I believe, is having all those priorities in the right place. But you can have it. You can't. I think corporate America gets a bad rap sometimes, and I know why it gets a bad rap. But I have traveled the world on the companies that I've worked for. I have had extensive training and development as from a professional perspective, all on the company dime, and I've met amazing humans along the way, people that I've worked with, and customers and partners that I've done business with. So, you know, is it perfect every day? No. But go talk to an entrepreneur that
Yeah.
started a company, and let me tell you, if their
The
life is
grind.
perfect every day, right?
That's right. That's right. I think I agree with you. I enjoy corporate America as well. It's been fun for me as well. Now, let's go to our final section, which is our rapid fire questions, Robin.
Okay.
So, one word that people would use to describe you at work.
At work,
Yeah.
fearless.
Yes. Okay. A corporate rule you wish everyone knew.
A corporate rule. It's a game.
It's a
It's a
game.
game.
It's a game. So, favorite leadership book beside your book?
Good to great.
Good to great. I love that. A career mistake you are now grateful for.
Not speaking up and saying what I wanted when I there was a promotion on the table,
Mhm.
and I didn't speak up. I thought it would just come to me naturally, and it didn't. And they didn't know I wanted the job. They
Wow.
didn't know I wanted the job.
Wow. Okay. Your first ever job.
First ever job, I was 9
Oh,
and I worked in my family's manufacturing plant, sweeping the floors.
oh, okay, that's good. That's good. So finally, what's a non-negotiable money habit that you developed?
A non negotiable what?
Habit, habit.
A non negotiable habit. My quiet time, my
Right.
quiet time in the mornings.
Okay, that's good. That's good. We have come to the end of this episode, Robin. It's been great speaking with you. I enjoyed this. I'm a man, but I learned a lot from what you are sharing. And your message, I think many people need to hear this. I'm glad that we have this time to connect so that we can spread the message for people to learn and grow in their career. Where can my listeners find you so that they can connect with you and continue
Uh,
the journey with you?
the best place is my website, and that is therealrobingoad.com.
Okay. Okay, I'll be sure to leave that in my show notes. Thank you very
Okay.
much for coming on the show, Robin.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed it.
All right.